All right, we're back. This is the final part. It's getting very late. We're all getting crazy.
This guy's really hungry.
He's hungry Joe Gibson.
We all look like the big lamb chops, like the guy on the deserted island sees with his buddy.
Like you see at the Renaissance Fair.
The camera is actually turning into a hero. That's a
hero sandwich.
Right.
Not a Chris hero.
Last topic is your favorite top guy. Your favorite champ. Your favorite world heavyweight, because locally we don't have world. But your favorite guy to take a belt and carry it and make it mean something and defend it, in whether he was babyface or heel.
David Arquette.
Okay, we'll move on to Jerry.
Vince McMahon. Oh.
All right, Joe.
Not really.
Favorite champ? Flair.
Because of how many times, or you think just...
Because he is solid through and through. To me, he is one of the guys that set the standard of how a champion should be. Because he's both been a champion as a baby and a heel.
With the gimmick of styling, profiling, and flying planes and stuff.
The expensive suits, the $800 watches, the $3,000 shoes, the wheeling, dealing, girlfriend stealing. To me, that
right.
Kiss stealing.
So you like that whole gimmick?
To me, that right there just set the standard that when you're champion, you've got all these perks for you. I mean, it's plus just his work rate and the way that he could carry a match being a champion,
right,
or going into a title match. I mean, a good example of that would be him and Dusty Rhodes. I mean, to me, Dusty Rhodes is, I hate to say this, is only good on the mic. Yeah, see?
I can see that.
I disagree.
To me, Dusty Rhodes is the greatest promo guy in the business, aside from Roddy Piper. But in that match between him and Flair in the cage for the NWA heavyweight title, outstanding.
And not obviously world, but on a local level, like a guy who got the belt and deserved it and showed up after he won the belt and made it mean something.
Right now?
No.
Any local.
Any local?
Yeah.
Past, present.
Future.
Bryan Danielson.
No, our local, not indie.
I thought you were saying indies. I'm sorry.
No, local.
It was a stomach talking.
Local.
He's hungry for Bryan Danielson, as you should be.
Who isn't?
He's the beast.
I'm thirsty for him because he looks like a glass of milk, right?
It does.
He's a white guy.
In this area, Cyrus LeVay, so far to me, is
Which run, the PWA run or the Ultimate run?
Or the DSPW
Probably the one he was
run.
around for.
PWA run.
PWA run.
No, I was wrong.
Joe watched PWA.
He was around. He was in the crowd.
He's fooling you, all of you.
We're getting
He told
work.
me in confidence that he doesn't even know what we're talking about.
I'm just making it up as I go.
It was a shoot. You're not supposed to lie on it.
But somebody told us that PWA stood for Pussy Whipped Assholes, which I thought was brilliant.
Maybe Maze.
Oh!
Groaner.
And that concludes our.
And that concludes our
Mace joke during this.
We lost count of the ticker. Yeah, Cyrus PWA. That was a good run.
Yeah.
Jerry.
Indy, he took my answer. Cyrus LeVay.
Not local.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
PWA carried it. DSPW, which I booked him as the champion, carried it very well.
No, he won that title by himself and defended it. You didn't book him anything. That was a shoot. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, he really beat Nick Vortex.
Well, I told him to beat him though, so.
It's weird that worked out that way.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It was a lucky
Like,
coincidence.
hey, buddy, go out there and beat him, and he did.
And Ultimate carrying it. And I hope that strap stays on him for a long
Omega Osiris seems like a guy that you can put a belt on with confidence, and you know he'll be there, and you know he'll give you a quality
He's there every
match.
show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I've never heard of him no showing anybody.
He's a game day guy.
If he says he's going to be there, he's going to be there. And generally, you put a belt on him, it's a pretty safe bet that it's.
If he's not there, it's for a good reason. I always have a blast on the show with Cyrus.
Right. And of all time.
Nationally, all time, I would say Flair. For the reason that when it was territorial, he had to defend the NWA. Back when the NWA meant something, when it was all these different territories were part of the NWA, and he traveled from territory to territory to territory, grooming their top guy, making him look like $1 million, one after the other for a long time. and I imagine that was very grueling. And he walked the walk and talked the talk. And in his promos, he put it over like it. He meant it. I mean, you could see in his eyes that he believed what he was saying. Joe took Flair, but if I had to pick another one, I would say Shawn Michaels, because he was just so fucking good.
And that was at a time when nobody really watched. That was like 95, 96, before the Monday Night War kicked in. And I think that was unfair, because he had a lot of really solid matches and a great run when it wasn't really popular to like wrestling. Because it was kind of cartoony, and anybody who like anybody who really liked Shawn Michaels during that era, not the DX era, but the kind of the Rob Halford leather, like really might be
sexy boy,
might engage in faggotry. Like it takes seriously to as an adolescent boy and to look at him and be like, oh wow, he's my favorite. The girls liked him. True story. When I was stationed overseas, a little Indian boy told me he wanted to marry Shawn Michaels. That's a true story. He was confused by the long hair. True story.
I can see that.
True story.
Oh boy.
I don't know. I don't know if the kid was messing with
An indie
him.
worker that works with us, I can't think of his name right now, but loves Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I was.
Would put a mouthful of Michaels in him.
I wish you hadn't have said that, because I was doing that for him.
Or like a vacuum in space.
Starts with an N and ends with an ick, I think, the first part.
And especially in It Was X has Ick Vorta in the site.
Right.
Something like
Vic
that.
Nortex.
Yeah,
Vortex.
Saved you guys some time.
he picked the ball up and he carried it very well, and it was his time.
Yeah, I just wish more people could have seen it, because I mean that was right before it was his prime, and
He was so good.
yeah, he really was. My favorite match at that point was he and Foley.
That was a very good
I
match.
really liked that
I
match
like
a
the
lot.
spot in that match that they came up with where they made it look like Foley fucked a spot up, but it was intentional. Michaels went up for like a reverse crossbody, and Foley kind of walked it off and walked away from it, and he got down and tackled him and was just punching him.
Which, oddly enough, was when UFC started to gain popularity.
Mm-hmm. And Foley had the idea because Michaels got pissed at Vader in a match and went off on him during the match and was yelling at him and berating him. And he said it seemed real, so he wanted him to do it. And
Right. Yeah, because I remember he got a full mount and started doing hammer fists and stuff like that.
Foley said, "You can hit me on that mask, and it doesn't hurt to just lay him in."
All right.
Interesting story.